We met during our sophomore year of college. She was a nursing student with a bright laugh and a sense of calm I hadn't known I needed. I was drawn to her instantly, and to my surprise she was drawn to me too. Our connection was easy, natural. Late-night study sessions turned into lazy Sunday mornings, and before long we were inseparable. Friends joked that we were already an old married couple by graduation. After college, we moved in together in a small but cozy apartment downtown. She took a job at the hospital. I landed a marketing role at a tech firm. Life was hectic but good. We found our rhythm: morning coffees, quick check-ins during work breaks, movie nights on Fridays. She'd tell me stories from her shifts, and I'd vent about clients. There was comfort in our routine, in how well we knew each other. For our 5th anniversary we spent a weekend by the coast. I remember watching her sip wine by the fire, laughing at one of my dumb jokes and thinking, yeah, this is it. I'd already started setting money aside for a ring. We weren't perfect, but we were close. At least that's what I believed. The signs were small at first. Nothing obvious. Her phone started buzzing more often, usually at night. She said it was the group chat with her night shift team, always full of chaos and memes. I believed her. Trust wasn't an issue. We'd never given each other a reason to doubt. She started wearing perfume on random weekdays, something floral she hadn't used in years. When I complimented her, she brushed it off like it was nothing. She claimed she was just trying to feel a bit more feminine again. I smiled, kissed her cheek, and told her she didn't need to try. She was always beautiful. Sometimes she'd come home later than usual, blaming shift changes or paperwork overload. It made sense. Her job was demanding, and I wanted to be understanding. I didn't ask questions. I didn't pry. I respected her space, her independence. That's what love is, right? But I couldn't help noticing how often she'd turn her phone screen away when texting. Once, I caught a glimpse of a name I didn't recognize, just an initial and the word Jim next to it. I asked about it casually. She said it was a new trainer at her gym, helping her with a workout plan. Made perfect sense. Still, something didn't sit right. We had a dinner with some friends, and she seemed checked out. Barely laughed, barely spoke to me. On the way home I asked if she was okay. She said she was just tired. I didn't press further. I kept convincing myself that people go through phases. That this was just a rough patch, nothing more. Every relationship has ups and downs. We had history, plans, a shared life. I had no idea that while I was envisioning forever, she was already halfway out the door. Things started feeling off more often than not. She became easily irritated, snapping at small things. My tone, a misplaced glass, a forgotten chore. Before, she'd laugh things off. Now everything felt like a trigger. I chalked it up to work stress. Her hospital had been understaffed lately, and she'd been pulling doubles. That's what I told myself every time the tension built in the room. She started sleeping with her phone under her pillow. When I asked why, she said it was in case her unit called her in. I didn't question it. But when I woke up one night and saw her texting, smiling faintly, I couldn't help but feel a knot form in my gut. She told me it was a funny meme from a coworker. I wanted to believe her. I really did. We used to spend our weekends together, but now she was suddenly busy. Workouts, errands, needing alone time. One Saturday she said she was going to the gym and would be back by noon. At 2 p.m., she texted saying she grabbed lunch with a few coworkers. No mention of who. I didn't ask. Something about her tone dared me not to. I found a restaurant receipt in her purse. 2 entrees, a bottle of wine, date and time stamped on a night she told me she was working a double. When I asked about it, she barely flinched. Said it was a team dinner after a long shift. Asked who went. She listed names so fast I couldn't even keep track. Her voice had no cracks in it. I left it alone. That night, I stared at the ceiling while she slept beside me. My gut told me something was wrong. My heart told me to trust her. I was stuck between both. I tried to shake it off, to focus on us. I booked a weekend getaway to our favorite spot. Told her I wanted us to have time to reconnect. She said she'd check her schedule. 2 days later, she told me she couldn't get the time off. No apology, just a flat, I can't. The following week, I noticed she'd changed her phone password. She used to leave her phone on the couch without a second thought. Now it never left her side. I made a joke about her becoming a secret agent. She just smiled and shrugged. One night, while she was in the shower, a message popped up on her lock screen. A name I'd never seen. Jim. No preview, just the name. When I asked about it later, she said he was a personal trainer. That he sometimes gave her tips over text. That he was married. She rolled her eyes like I was being ridiculous. A few days later, she came home in high spirits. I asked what made her day better. She said nothing in particular. But the way she walked lighter, how she hummed while washing up, I couldn't ignore it. She hadn't been that happy around me in weeks. That was the moment I knew something wasn't right. I just didn't know how bad it was going to get. I stopped making excuses. My gut wasn't just paranoid. It was trying to protect me from something I wasn't ready to see. I waited until the next time she said she had a late shift. She left around 6 p.m., wearing more makeup than usual, and dressed in a way she never did for work. I didn't say a word. I waited 20 minutes, then I followed. She didn't go to the hospital. She didn't even head in that direction. She drove across town, parked near a lounge I knew well, and walked inside. 10 minutes later, a man met her at the entrance. Mid-30s, athletic build. I recognized him from her gym Instagram stories. The one she claimed was just a trainer. They hugged, then kissed. Felt like someone took a bat to my chest. I didn't move. Didn't blink. I watched them laugh, touch, lean into each other like something real was between them. And just like that, the version of my life I believed in collapsed. I didn't go in. I didn't cause a scene. I drove home with my hands shaking and my mind blank. The apartment looked different. Her things, our photos, even the dinner leftovers in the fridge. It all felt staged now. She came home past midnight. Smelled like a mix of alcohol and cologne I didn't wear. She acted tired, kissed me lightly on the forehead, and said she needed sleep. I didn't say anything. I stayed awake until sunrise. That was the moment I decided I needed the truth. Directly from her. The next evening I waited for the right moment. I asked her calmly who Jay was. She froze. Blinked a few times like she didn't hear me. I repeated the question. Her first instinct was to lie. Said he was just someone from the gym who gave her advice. When I told her I saw them together, the color drained from her face. Silence stretched between us. Then, slowly, she admitted it. They'd met a few months ago, exchanged numbers casually, started texting, then meeting up. Said it wasn't serious, that she was confused. Said she didn't plan to cheat, it just happened. Asked if she loved him. She said she didn't know. Asked if she loved me. She didn't answer. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just stood there, letting every word cement the end of everything we'd built. I walked to our bedroom, packed a duffel bag with the basics, and told her I needed space. She begged me not to go. Said she wanted to fix things. That she was scared of losing me. But it was too late. Something inside me had snapped. Leaving wasn't loud or dramatic. It was quiet. Like mourning someone who hadn't died but might as well have. I sat in my car for over an hour before I even turned the key. I wasn't just walking away from her. I was walking away from 6 years of shared plans, inside jokes, and a future I thought was certain. And the worst part, she never said she was sorry. The first few weeks were brutal. I moved in with a friend across town. Barely spoke. Food had no taste. Sleep didn't come easy. Everything reminded me of her. The way she laughed at my dumb jokes, the way she used to hum while brushing her teeth, the scent of her shampoo on my pillow. I'd replay moments in my head, trying to find where it all started to go wrong. There were no satisfying answers, just endless loops of what-ifs. I went through our photos one night, not to reminisce but to confirm to myself it was real, that I hadn't imagined everything. The smiles were there. The love looked real. But then I noticed how, in the last year, her smile stopped reaching her eyes. I'd missed it in real time. It was clear in hindsight. I started therapy because the pain was too heavy to carry alone. I wasn't looking for advice, I just needed to say it out loud. The therapist told me something I won't forget. You can't outlove someone's desire to escape. That hit hard. I realized I had been trying to prove my worth to someone who had already decided I wasn't enough. And no matter how much I gave, it was never going to change that. A month later, I found old messages between her and Jay. She hadn't deleted them. The texts weren't just flirty, they were intimate, emotional, like they were building something behind my back. There was a part of me that felt relief. I didn't imagine it. I wasn't crazy. The truth was worse than I thought, but at least I knew. Anger replaced sadness for a while. I hated how I'd been made to feel small, how she manipulated me into doubting my instincts. But anger didn't help. It didn't fix anything. I started going to the gym, reading more, reconnecting with friends I hadn't seen in years. It wasn't a magical recovery. It was slow, uneven, but I kept showing up for myself. Months passed. The fog lifted gradually. I started seeing life without her not as empty, but open. I traveled alone for the first time. Just a weekend trip, but it was enough. Enough to feel in control again. Enough to prove I wasn't stuck. I didn't need to hate her to move on. I just needed to accept the version of her that chose someone else. Almost a year after the breakup, I ran into her at a coffee shop. She looked surprised, tired, like life hadn't gone the way she'd planned. We talked briefly. She asked how I was. I said I was good. She said she hoped I was happy. I nodded, thanked her, and walked away without looking back. There was no bitterness, no desire for closure. Just peace. The kind that comes from knowing you didn't lose something. You were freed from it. She chose excitement over loyalty. I chose myself over pain. That's not just healing. That's growth. And I wouldn't trade it for anything.